Hello everybody. So we have a do-it-yourself project today, and I will be instructing you on the creation of a hamp. Let's get started. So the first thing you got to do is pick up your basic plunger length. So the measurement we're using here is 2-inch PVC, and you just want to pick a length that suits you for the plunger. Personally, when I do this, I don't even measure. I just take what's comfortable. So this end is relatively finely cut, so we'll start with that end, and we'll sand it down later. And let's say I want my plunger to go out to here. I don't know, that just feels right. As I said, personally, I don't measure, but there's nothing that says you can't. So that's a foot, marks there, and a little over 1.5 feet. Really doesn't matter how long you make it. It's just because if you make it way too big, then your arms don't travel far enough to fit the plunger stroke. You can always make the actual plunger larger than 2 inches, and yes, that will get you more volume, and I plan on doing it with my next hamp. But the basic hamp is made on a 2-inch scale, so that's how I'm doing it this time. So you want to go ahead and cut the PVC to the marking you made. For this, I'm going to be using a Dremel. So now that we have our 2-inch piece cut, you got to cut a measure off 1.5-inch PVC for the actual plunger. So again, going to switch hands. Take my handy dandy marker. Mark off about your hand's length away from the actual plunger. So you get a good hand's length, a good grip that will be still out of the plunger, so you can fit your hand around it and pump comfortably. Okay, so now that we have both edges all cut, it should be a little bit more, or a little bit less than an equal ratio, which it is. Fits quite nice. So the next thing to do, and that's a comfortable amount of room for a hand grip, the next thing to do is even out the edges. Most people will have to use sandpaper for this, but myself, I am lucky enough that I own a belt sander. So that's how I'll be tackling sanding. So that creates nice even edges. So I'm going to be doing the same thing with the second piece. So very nice, very clean edges. So now we can move on to our next step. Okay, our next step is to make a stopper. So take some cardboard and the end of your 1/2 inch PVC. Line it with hot glue. Be generous. Literally slap it right onto the cardboard. Then once this dries, we're going to cut around the cardboard and make it flush with the rest of the pipe. This stops the air from going straight through the pipe and allows it to pump into the actual plunger, or the actual plunger tube. Alright, so once it's all dried, take your scissors and literally just cut around. You want this to be as flush as possible to the actual PVC tube. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty close. That's good enough. So the next thing we want to do is secure this with some electrical tape. So once you've got that all sealed up, it shouldn't touch the edges of your PVC too much. Mine does a little bit, but it's not so bad. As long as it still slides freely, then you don't have a problem. So we'll move on to the actual seal. So now that we have the end all sealed up, we have to make the seal, which is why there's duct tape on here. You want to wrap your 1.5 inch PVC in about 3 layers of duct tape, just going around. And then, this part seems a little strange, but if you don't do it, the mod doesn't work. And yes, it's kind of weird, but that's just how you're supposed to make hamps, and it's the only way to get it to seal. You need to take yarn, not the yellow nylon stuff. You need actual yarn for this. This is how you create the seal. The reason we're using yarn is because it's squishy, so it expands and contracts in the plunger and will actually make a seal. So you want to tuck a little bit under the very edge of your duct tape and then literally go around wrapping it. Wait, I have to start at the other end. Not bad. So you start at the bottom, just for simplicity of wrapping. So that secures it, and then you just go around and you guide the yarn. So there you go. Takes a very long time, but it's definitely worth the seal. Alright, hello everybody. Just got home from Home Depot just buying a bunch of stuff. So now, we can finish up the hamp. So, let me just get myself organized for a minute. And I also got a 10-foot length of PVC. This stuff is very flexible when it's in a 10-foot length. It's kind of creepy. We can hit things with it. Anyway, so back to camp. What do we have so far? We've got the plunger with the seal attached, all done. We've got the plunger tube. Now we've got to fit this down to a 1/2 inch barrel. So how do we get this to a 1/2 inch barrel? Well, you use a part called a bushing. And yes, I know that's a funny name. But this is a compilation of bushings. There's a 1 inch to a 1/2 inch. And then this I put in really tight so it doesn't come out. This is 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and this is 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So every hardware store is a little different on their bushings, but it's probably going to take about 3 bushings to get down to the 1/2 inch level. And you just sort through your hardware store, ask for assistance from one of the employees if you need it, but it gets down to 1/2 inch. So that you throw in on the back there, make sure it's nice and secure, and then you're going to want to either use PVC glue or super glue, or if nothing else, hot glue. I'm going to be super gluing them together. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's going to take too long, but then I reinforce it with small rings of hot glue going around the edges. So I'll do that and I'll get right back to you guys. So the next thing we need to do is make the curve. There are multiple ways to make this curve. The simplest is using 2 elbow joints. And there you go, you've got your curve. I'm going to go for some style points here. Use some 45s and an elbow to make a curve, just for fun. So one thing I learned after making my first hamp is don't glue what you don't have to. And what I mean by that is, alright, so you've got the, didn't mean to do that, but you've got the plunger. Obviously this doesn't get glued to anything, so we can set that aside for a minute. You want to glue your main plunger tube assembly. You want all this to be completely solid. But after this point, so I have my elbow here, but I'm not going to actually glue that on. I'm just going to let it sit there. And the reason I say that is sometime in the future, I might want that to be an RSCB. So I'll be able to pop this off, pop on a different attachment, and there you go. Then I could just rework my hamp. So the point is, glue this, have the entire assembly glued, but then don't glue whatever you're putting onto the back, so you can keep things interchangeable. That also helps if a dart were to get sucked into here, I could take it out and put a wire through it to get the dart out. Just don't glue them. It makes life a lot easier. So the next thing you gotta do is cut your barrel. And the way you pretty much want that done is you take your hamp and extend the plunger out to right before where the plunger head's exposed. And you want to make the barrel about that same length. So mine is just a little bit longer. So that's how basically you're making the barrel. You want your darts to be loose because the airflow that's generated, there's a ton of it, but it's manual propulsion. You're pumping it with your arm, which means it's not going nearly as fast as if a spring were to push it in. You may think, oh, well, I can push it really fast. Yeah, but no, it's not as fast as a spring. So, especially like a plus bow spring. But anyway, put your barrel in. Now you might notice it's a little bit shaky. Don't really like that. No, I don't. So what we're going to do is put a spacer at the end that holds this barrel up and clamps it in. Alright, so in the idea of keeping this as little glued as possible, I glued an end coupler here, which is then used for whatever length of PVC needs to be plugged into for the spacer to correctly line up with the barrel. And here, where's the end? So we'll throw the end on here, line it up. Put on barrel. So you see it does droop a bit. But that's about where the barrel stays straight. So now we just need to create the fitting that allows that kind of leverage. And depending on the connector at the back, you're going to need different amounts of leverage. That's why I just put an end cap here. Because for some, it'll be able to rest right on the end cap, and that's all you need. For this, it needs leverage. It needs to be a bit higher. So I'll come up with a piece for that. But that's essentially it. You can put it all, throw it all together, grab any kind of stock dart. I've got streamlines on hand. Throw a streamline in the end of the barrel, And check this out. It actually vacuum loads when I prime back. So now that streamline is at the very end of the barrel here. Goes pretty fast. Fire it again. And that should get you ranges of 60 to 90 feet depending on your darts and your seal. So that's pretty much how you make a Hamp. They're very simple, they're very cheap, and they're extremely effective. I am a very large fan of Hamps. Alright, so I made my support, and it's just a bit of PVC that goes in the coupling, and I taped around the barrel so it holds it down in place. And here's the fun part about Hamps, is when you paint them, you don't use paint, you use tape. I currently don't have, well, you could use paint, but traditionally you use tape. I currently don't have anything but black, so I decided to do a zebra snow camo theme, because what else am I going to do? But I think it's pretty cool. And here we go. These are taggers, so these are quite fast. Whoops. Yeah, taggers in this thing goes 80, 90, not a problem, and angled goes up to like 130. It's very nice. They're not the most accurate thing in the world, but they're fun as hell. I really, really like Hamps. And I plan on putting an ammo holder, a detachable ammo holder on it for taggers. Taggers are the basic ammo for Hamps. You can use Steffens, you can use other stock darts, but taggers are the nice fit. They ride the barrel really well. So there you go. That's Hamps. I hope that this video helped you guys in creation of a Hamp and was entertaining. And yeah, see you guys next video.